the only way they have a chance with now Cooper Rush coming in as the quarterback, you got to be able to run the football. And I know they haven't done that all season long, but getting the ball and watching Rico against the Atlanta Falcons, being able to make plays, having some runs of 10 or more yards is the only thing I think gives him a chance, because you keep the ball out of Philly's hands and you don't allow Saquon Barkley to wreck the game.
Jason McCarty says it's the only way that he thinks the Cowboys can beat the Eagles this week. Run the ball. I don't know that they can run the ball. We'll ask Casey Joyner. Of course, he's brought to you by Elite Acura, scoring incredible savings all month long at Elite Acura on Route 73, Maple Shade, online at EliteAcura.com. Well, you heard that, Casey Joyner, and I'm thinking, well, if that's the best way for them to win this game, running the football, do you see a way that Dallas all of a sudden can manufacture a run game because Cooper Rush is the quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not getting a good sense on that at all. I mean, the Cowboys, it's not just that the Cowboys don't have a very good run game. It's not just that, they ran for $137 last week against Atlanta. That's easily their season high. Only the third time they rushed for over 100 yards, and they barely made it in the other two. It's not just that. I mean, looking at the metrics, the Eagles' defense on designed rushes over the past 4 weeks, the Eagles are second in the league in fantasy points per game allowed. They're only allowing 3.3 yards per rush, only 8.9 points per game. They just have some of the best numbers in the league. They're very disciplined. They're tackling well. We've been talking about that other than the fourth quarter last week. They've been tackling really well. The defense tackles well. It does gap responsibility pretty well, and they don't have to worry so much about the pass. I mean, you got to worry about the CeeDee Lamb no matter what, but if you can keep him limited like other teams have, if you do that, yeah, okay, Dallas, good luck. With your backs, you can get anywhere. Yeah, I wouldn't like it if you traded running backs. If you put Barkley under the Cowboys and gave the Eagles Dowdle, I'd still like the Eagles' chances.
Well, you take a look at it then, their offensive line against the Eagles. The Eagles' pass rush, it's a tough one. I'd like to hear where you think they are as a pass rush. But against the run, Philadelphia does a pretty good job. I don't know that people are buying their pass rush quite yet, but against the run, it seems like even if Dallas was a good good running team, the Eagles' defense is still a good run defense.
They are, and the Eagles, the pass rush-wise, 16 sacks the last 4 games. I mean, they've got one of the highest sack rates in the league as well. In fact, the second highest sack percentage behind the Giants. Mind you, I also look at they have True Media has the pass rush pressures that the team gets, and that's you want sacks as opposed to pressures. You don't want to just have pressures, but they have 52 pass rush pressures. They have a 35.9% pass pressure rate of the past 4 weeks. That ranks 12th. So you're second in sack rate, you're 12th in pass pressure rate. You're blitzing only 18.8% of the time. It's one of the lowest blitz rates per dropback in the league. So I'm like, okay, I know they played some favorable offensive lines. I know that's part of it. But if you're dominating in the pass rush this much, with the Eagles right now, I'm like, okay, the pass rush is not something I'm too worried about. I think they can get a pass rush if Dallas decides to let Cooper throw the ball.
Yeah, I know, you take a look at the Dallas offensive line. It's not the Dallas lines that we remember. They are struggling a little bit. What does Cooper Rush change for this offense? I mean, I know we played 5-1 a couple of years ago, and the one loss was to Philadelphia. But does he do anything that maybe makes them a little different or better than Dak Prescott?
I got to wonder if you're Cooper Rush, what do you got to lose? I mean, it's not you can build a game plan around him to say he won't lose the game for you, but also I get a bit of a sense when I watch him on tape, a little bit of sense of gunslinger, like that it's there for him, and it might be one of those things where Dallas goes, hey, maybe we just got to throw 20 passes to CeeDee and see if the Eagles can cover. Maybe we just say, hey, we can't run the ball so well. I'm serious. Send 22 targets. We've seen it happen.
All right. Well, then let me ask you, what about where is I'm glad you went down. Where is Quinyon Mitchell in your mind as a rookie corner halfway through the year? Is he turning into a guy that is a lockdown type of corner?
5.2 yards per target the past 4 weeks. 14 targets, 8 completions, only 73 yards, 57.1% completion rate, only a 71.4 passer rating. It's really good. He's right up. Mind you, Cooper DeJean is not that far behind at 5.8. Darius Slay at 6.9 is a solid number for him. I mean, DeJean's the one who's getting targeted the most of the past 4 weeks, and Mitchell's second as far as targets per Pro Football Reference and things. He's holding up really, really well. And that's the thing. Look, if you're going up against CeeDee, you know what he can do. You just say, fine, we're going to cap things over the top. He's going to get his catches. Tackle him. Just make him, if he wants to go take 20 times, fine. Can he hold up? I don't know. But, I mean, if that's what they want to do and they want to just do that, Go up there, tackle them. They'll be, you'll get some incomplete passes. You'll get a drop pass here and there. You might get a pick if you play things well. I mean, if they want to go that route, they want to say, fine, we'll go there. I'd say go ahead and let them and just make sure you don't get beat over the top. And the Eagles have been really good at that, too, by the way. Vertical passing numbers over the past 4 weeks. They're third in the league in fantasy points allowed per game on vertical passes. So, I mean, the Eagles are shutting in deep passes, too. I mean, this is, like I said, I like their chances. Just don't get beat by CD, and you got a real good chance.
You got the Eagles' defense kind of locked down against that offense. The Dallas offense has not been very good. Let's flip it over. What is Philly looking at? They're going to get Parsons back. It looks like they're giving up 42 points a game at home here. Their secondary has been a disaster. It looks like Brown and Smith and Goddard are going to be back here. So is this a big play type of day? This is what they like to do. They're a big play type of team. They like to take shots down the field. Are those shots available?
Over the past 4 games, and some of these guys, may not, depending on, they've only played a couple games. A couple of these guys have, so these are incomplete numbers. But still, past 4 games for the Cowboys. Amani Oruwariye, 13.2 yards per target. Trevon Diggs, 10.2 yards per target. Donovan Wilson, 10.7 yards per target. Kalen Carson, 12.1 yards per target. If you're in a double-digit range at a cornerback, and also if you get to the end of the season, you're in a double-digit range as a cornerback, you're gone. It's like, remember Lito Shepard back in the day? Lito would get a bunch of interceptions. The only thing that kept him out there because his yards per target were just abysmal. If you hit double digits, it's time for you to go. They got 4 people right now who are in double-digit yards per target in the past 4 weeks. There's targets all over the place on that defense, and that's the individual ones. If you're looking at vertical passing too, if you're looking at Dallas on vertical passes, they're 32nd. They're last in the league on vertical pass points per game allowed over the past 4 games. I mean, they're 14th at tight end points, so maybe they hold up well there. But okay, you got 1+ and you get beaten everywhere else. I mean, it's just like this is not. It's hard to believe this defense plays as bad as it does. It's not talent. They just don't perform well. Seriously, they play well below their talent level. And then the run game. I'm breaking out a run game from a couple weeks ago, and I got to like the first 6 plays. There were massive errors in run defense on 6 plays. It was like I couldn't believe the volume and how many people were making them. It was like there were multiple ones on one play. I'm like, my God, this looks like the old Belichick term. It's like, so you can bring in Foxborough High and do better.
Casey Joyner from The Athletic. One thought every game coming up in just a second. We'll finish off a thought on Philly. Saquon Barkley's having a really, really, really good year. If they want him to have a really, really, really good day, is that available to him?
The Cowboys are allowing 25 fantasy points per game on planned rushing plays over the past 4 weeks. It's easily the worst in the league. They're just, it's not just showing up on tape. They're abysmal. 450 yards rushing in the 3 games they played, 4.7 yards per rush. They're bad, out of position. And the thing is, if you're the Eagles, it's like, you could go one of 2 ways. You could literally, I think if you're the Eagles, you could just say, look, we use a minimum of creativity and just go punch these guys in the mouth. That would work. That absolutely would work. As bad as they are at doing just the basics and run defense, they absolutely work. But if you start saying, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and start running some bash. Let's go ahead and start running some different zone reads. Let's start giving them some, Y-offs and do some split zones and things. You start doing those things I'm telling you, it's going to be Keystone Cops for the Cowboys defense.
All right, one thought every game. Let's get into it. Casey Joyner from The Athletic here. Giants and Panthers. It's in Germany, 9:30 Sunday morning. Giants have won 2 straight games against the Panthers going back to the 2021 season. They've never won 3 straight against Carolina. They're 5-5 or 6-6 all time in the regular season against the Panthers. This is probably the worst game you could put in Germany, but that's what we're getting.
Yeah, that's not a good advertising. You knew this wouldn't be a great game going into the season, but it looks like it might even be worse than what they thought and such. Panthers defense, 3 of the past 4 weeks, about 197 or more yards rushing. The Giants have a great ground game, but you wouldn't think, but they've rushed for 321 yards over the past couple of weeks and did it against Washington and Pittsburgh, 2 pretty good defenses. So I don't think the Panthers can stop the run. I think the Giants also, again, you've got neighbors, and the Panthers really don't have anybody at that caliber, so I'm going to take Giants.
All right, one thought every game, Bills and Colts. The Bills have lost 6 straight games against the Colts. The last time they won, Peyton Manning was a rookie. Doug Flutie was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills in that game.
That's going back a ways, yeah. That's old school. I got to give the Bills defense a lot of credit. I know they allowed 27 last week to Miami. Miami's really, got back to where they are with Tua back and make, changes their offense. But they've been shutting teams down defensively. They've played really good. They're getting takeaways in every contest. And the Colts, you bring back Flacco last week, and it just didn't do anything for the offense. They ran for a season low 68 yards. I mean, that's just and I think Buffalo's rush defense. I mean, they've allowed less than 100 yards 4 times this year. I think that the Colts just don't have enough firepower. I got to take Buffalo.
All right, let's go to Broncos and Chiefs. One thought every game. The Broncos are looking to win consecutive games against the Chiefs for the first time since they beat them 7 straight times. That was the pre-Mahomes era. They had lost 16 straight against Kansas City before they won in Week 8 last year. But the Chiefs haven't lost yet this year. Do they do it to this Broncos outfit?
They've scored 26 or more points in the last 4 weeks. And an interesting comment that came out of the Monday night game was Belichick was on the Manning cast, and he said, Manning was talking to Belichick on the Manning cast. He said he had talked to Mahomes, and that Mahomes said that he already knows, just based on his body language, where DeAndre Hopkins is going to go on a particular route. Like, he knows the leverage he's reading out. He's already I already have an idea exactly where he's going to be. They're reading the defense the same way, which, again, DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Fame receiver, so it makes sense that he could integrate that quickly. But the thing is, if that's the case, that offense didn't have a great passing game, and now you've got Kelsey getting re-involved in the offense. I think it's a certain amount of firepower that Denver, and had it been before last week, I might have said Denver had a better chance. But Baltimore put up 41. Kansas City won't put up 41, but they'll put more than enough up to beat the Broncos.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to Atlanta and the Saints. The Saints fired their coach. The Falcons 4-0 in the division. They haven't won 5 divisional games in a season since 2016 and haven't won their first 5 divisional games since 2014. They have never had an unbeaten divisional record in franchise history. Do they keep that opportunity alive?
Running through the metrics this week on the Saints, I understand firing their coach. Remember, Allen had not had a successful tenure before that, and if you try and bring coaches back and such, recycle coaches, it's not a good idea in the NFL. It works in baseball sometimes, but not in the NFL. But I looked at their numbers, and I was just like, oh, my God, this team, I knew they were playing bad, but when you start diving into the deep dive metrics, oh, wow, there isn't a place they're playing well. They're not pass rushing, not pass blocking, they're not running, almost, besides Kamara, they're not doing anything. He's banged up. So, yeah, I think Atlanta is playing. They're as good as their one-loss record says. They're playing it well, so I'm taking the Falcons big.
One thought every game, Niners in Tampa. The Niners are looking to win back-to-back games for the first time all year. They've been a favorite 35 consecutive games, and they're a favorite on the road this time against a banged-up Tampa team that fought hard last week. They've allowed 34 points per game during a 3-game losing streak, and they'll try to snap it against San Francisco.
I do the metrics for each week. I regrade the metrics from my start-sit service, and Bucks, they're not as bad as the Cowboys are, but their metrics have been really subpar. They've got 3 players in their secondary who are allowing 143 or higher passer rating. They're dead last in tight end points allowed over the past 4 weeks. Their vertical numbers aren't very good. It's just not a team that covers anybody well. And again, you got the worst coverage metrics. You're going against Kittle, and they might be getting Samuel back, and they'll be getting CMC back. Yeah, I think if Tampa was at full strength and had Godwin Evans, it might be a different story, but they can't keep up with the shoot. I got to take Niners.
All right, this is probably the game of the week. Steelers, Commanders, one thought every game on this one. Commanders have all sorts of things going in their favor. 4-0 at home, 7-2, best start since 1996. But the Steelers, their defense against this Washington offense, the Steelers are scoring 31 points a game in the Wilson 2 game. So this one should be probably the most entertaining game on Sunday.
It's going to be a big test for the Commanders because the Steelers, they're second in the league in vertical pass points allowed over the last 4 weeks. They're really good there. They're solid against tight ends and things. But they've got people who can stop the run and play in coverage too. Can their offense keep up can their offense generate points too? Because Washington's defense was terrible earlier this year. It wasn't like the worst team, but they were really bad metrics. And now they're playing a lot better. Plus, now that they've got they added Lattimore, and now they can move Seymour still over to the corner. They back Noah Igbenogany. I love saying that name. He was a slot corner for them. Now he's their backup corner. He's allowing 3.8 yards per target over the past 4 weeks. He's maybe their best corner, and now he's a backup because they've added so many people. They're really talented. So I like all that enough to say, hey, I think Washington can shut down the Steelers offense better than Pittsburgh can shut down Washington offense. I'll take the Commanders.
Ooh, all right. Commanders, actually not good for our listeners here. They're rooting for Pittsburgh in that one. Vikings and Jags. Minnesota leads the all-time series 6-1. It's the first of 3 straight road games for the Vikings, so they kind of need this one. They can't slip up against this Jaguars team that looks like they're going to start Mac Jones in the game. 3-12 in the last 15 games, Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville, that's yeah, they're at 237 rushing yards. We saw what they did last week. 237. They've had 407 rushing yards over the past 2 weeks. And mind you, earlier in the year, Brian Flores' defenses, there's that whole thing where Purdy stepping off the field and he tells Flores that was just fantastic. You guys have me confused all day. And Flores can do that when he's on his game. This is a team that he can do that against, too, because, by the way, their defense is looking like that more of the past couple weeks. Like Flores lost his mojo for a couple weeks there. It's back, and they're will, so I got to take the Vikings.
All right, Titans and Chargers, one thought every game. Chargers give up under 13 points a game. I don't know that the Titans can score in this one. This will be interesting. Chargers, basically, it feels like a 20-3 type of game here. The Titans trying to score against this Chargers defense is tough for everyone, but this is a very challenged Titans offense.
Yeah, I don't know how they set the over-under for that game low enough. I mean, what did the Chargers do? Because they scored 53 the past 2 weeks. So
it's 39, by the way. It's 39.
They must be expecting the Chargers to score 39 then, because the Titans are just, again, you're right, they're terrible, and they're not, they can run the ball. I mean, they've done that well, but the Chargers are a really good run defense, and the Chargers just have shut down pass coverage metrics too. I don't know if they're the best defense in the league. They're top 5 right now. And again, with the Titans, Levis, if they bring him back, they're turnover prone on offense. They can only run the ball. They can't get that much passing game going. And by the way, Chargers are just as deep in their secondary too. They've got rookies, they've got good rookies playing in their secondary. I mean, it's a very talented team. Got to take LA.
All right, one thought every game. Jets and Cardinals. The Jets win this game. They're right in the mix in the wild card. Cardinals win. They stay in first place in the NFC West. Who would have had them this deep into the season? Jets snapped a 5-game losing streak last week. The 11th time these two teams have ever met, but the Jets are a road favorite in the game.
They were home favorite last week against a 6-2 team. I was surprised about that. I'm kind of surprised that they're a favorite here as well. Arizona, I mean, whether they don't, the thing is, here's the thing. Arizona plays really well. They run the ball well, 213 yards last week. They've been stopping the run of late. They're very good on defense, and they do a lot of things well. They've got a lot of talent. They don't have their vertical passing game. I did a write-up for the Athletic in my Monday fantasy review article, and look, if you take the 2 games, there's 2 games where Murray has done great in vertical passing. He's the worst vertical pass quarterback in fantasy football each of the last 2 years on a points per game basis. Not skewed, points per game basis, qualified passers. And he's doing just as terrible this year if you take those 2 games out. It's making Marvin Harrison's contribution hard to come by because he's terrible on short passes. And that's going to be just enough where I don't think they can get that going. If they can't get Harrison going, I don't think they have enough firepower to beat the Jets. I'll take New York.
All right, one thought every game, Lions and Texans. This is the Sunday Night Football game. You can listen to it right here on 97.3 ESPN. These are 2 teams that have never made the Super Bowl. They both have Super Bowl aspirations. The Lions 7-1, best start since 1956. And, of course, the Houston Texans coming off that extra rest. They played Thursday night and did not look good in that game.
Yeah, somebody who was born and raised in Michigan, the idea that the Lions they might be the best team in the NFL, I don't know that I've ever been able to say that in my life. and it might be literally true right now. I mean, even I know the Chiefs have the best record. I think the Lions might be the best team. They can power run. They just showed they could win on the road. Their defense is playing much better. They have 11 takeaways over the past 4 weeks. Their rush defense isn't as good as it should be, and their pass defense numbers are good, but not great. But this is a team that when they put their foot on the gas, they can run up big scores against anybody. And the Houston defense it's good, maybe very good, maybe B plus on a good day. But you're going to have trouble slowing down Detroit if you have an A defense, and I don't think the Texans do. So I'm taking the Lions.
All right, Monday night, Dolphins and Rams, and obviously not a great Monday night football game. Dolphins lead the series 12-2, 5 straight games wins in the last loss against the Rams, 2001. But they got to travel across the country. They've been playing poorly. They kind of fought in that game last week against Buffalo. You feel like Miami's got to get one of these, but is it in L.A. against this Rams team?
It's a bad matchup record-wise. Should be fun. You got a big plays potentially. You've got Tua, you've got Tyreek. Here's the interesting thing: That review I did on Monday for The Athletic, I looked at how Miami was doing against cover two defenses, and teams are playing cover two against them. You should be able to run post routes or seam routes against they go down the middle, and Tyreek Hill is running more post routes since Tua's return than any other receiver in the league, and yet they've not hit any deep passes to him on that. I wonder if this might be the week that changes, because the Rams are 26th in vertical pass points allowed over the past 4 weeks. So I think that Tua is going to be able to hit a big play. Having said that, it is the cross-country trip, and mind you, you've got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and you've got Kyron Williams. I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game for, like I said, bad teams with bad records. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'll take the Rams because they're at home, because I think they have just a bit more firepower than Miami.
All right, Eagles and Cowboys. We'll get Casey's overall thought on that one. You know, Saquon Barkley has never beat Dallas. He's 0-10. It's worst record by a player versus a franchise for a skill player. This is unbelievable that Barkley's never won a game against Dallas. So let's see, does Casey Joyner have – Philadelphia, by the way, Hurts is 0-3 in Dallas. He's never won there either. So there's a lot of things kind of going against each other. By the way, the spread, Philadelphia is a 7-point road favorite in the game. They are 0-10 against the spread when the spread is 4 points or more in their favor. So this sounds like a close game and a tough one on the road, but the matchups don't feel that way.
The matchups absolutely don't feel that way. Dallas is they've got a lot of problems. I can't believe they're as undisciplined a defense as they are. I just look at this, and the thing is, because of all those factors you talk about, because of the division game in the first place, because of all those factors, I don't think they'll be rattled. I think it's one of those things where you walk in there and say, in fact, I'll use the line that Bear Bryant's trainer used one time when he had a Texas A&M team going to Texas A&M. He said, I pray you all got some guts because you're better than these guys are. I think that's what the Eagles need to say is we better have some guts to go in there and play these guys and just go punch them square in the mouth. Yeah, we don't win. We haven't won here and things. We got all these poor records against us. Doesn't matter. This is the year it ends. This is their matchup that it ends. I think that they put their foot to the floor, and I think I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but if they don't win by double digits, by 2 touchdowns, I'd be surprised because Dallas is that bad.
All right, there you go. One thought every game. Casey Joyner from The Athletic, and, of course, he's back on Tuesday when we look back at all these games. Man, we're going to be finishing Week 10 of the NFL. When you get to the double digits, man, it starts to get me worried that things are moving too fast. But we'll do it again on Tuesday with Casey from The Athletic. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.